Well, we're taking a break from riding today to make a fairly short review, and it's a product that I didn't expect to be reviewing because I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest. But a subscriber from Ireland, Patrick, sent me a note in relation to my video on the Arclight pedals to say I really get on very well with this product and I recommend that you have a look at it. And that was the Livall Evo 21 Smart Helmet. Now, as you know, my criteria for reviews is very, very simple, and that's that the product needs to be new and or innovative. Now, this product isn't that new in that it's been on the market for a while, but it is innovative. So it did fit that criteria. I then had a look at the company and I could see that this was a product that had been invented by a cycling enthusiast, and that's always good news because that's somebody that has developed a product relating to real life problems. I must have been that kid that played with the box rather than the toy inside, because I do love decent packaging. I think it says something about the company, it says something about their values, and I know packaging is wasteful, and that's why I was really impressed with this, because when I opened this carton I immediately saw that there's Velcro involved and it's a strong carton, and I'm assuming it's designed this way so that you can keep the helmet inside this box. So it's something that you don't need to throw away, you'll obviously use. Then when I looked inside and saw the product, I was even more impressed because the helmet is actually packed in this wonderful good quality helmet bag, drawstrings and everything. So again, it's another layer of protection. It's quite useful if you're on your commute or, you know, traveling on the train with your bike or whatever. It's quite handy to put the helmet in that bag, stop it getting knocked about. Now, as this is a smart helmet, it's going to have various functionality built in. I was quite surprised at how light the helmet is, and I also like the fact that it's looking good. Now, a helmet's only as good as the protection it gives you, so I did look into the safety elements of this. Now, it does meet various international standards, so there's no issue on safety, but basically you've got this hard shell that's going to take the main impact, but then once you look inside you've got an inner layer that's going to absorb any residual impact. Now, to finish it off, you've got memory foam layers that are going to give you the comfort. And of course you've got the normal adjuster here. Now, I like the webbing, it's in this nice bright orange. My only criticism is that when I got it adjusted to my size, this chin strap was offset to the side slightly and there was an awful lot of extra webbing there. Now, that's good because it's going to cater for people that need a bigger strap. And really it's no problem, because if I was keeping this helmet, all I would do is trim away the excess and make sure that this chin strap was in the middle. So what makes this helmet smart? Well, I'm going to take you through the features and I'm going to show you the features, and that's what's going to make this review more objective than something where I'm telling you my feelings about a product. Now, obviously I've got to tell you about how I feel about the looks and the fit, that's all subjective, but the actual features, I can show you those in operation, so you can judge for yourself whether you think this is useful to you. There are effectively 5 lighting modes with this helmet, and they're controlled from here, which is this button on the back of the helmet. It's one press and then the lights will come on and you can press through the various modes. And the modes available are a flick, there's a standard flash. The third function is flow, and that's not a flash, it's actually my favourite. It's a smooth flowing light, and for those of you that don't like flashing, then this is another alternative. The fourth feature is a brake light. So there is an inertia sensor in this helmet, so that when you brake on your bike, when you're slowing down, then that sensor will trigger the brake light, a brighter rear light comes on, and it will give a signal that you're stopping. Now, clearly, if you're riding with a group or whatever in the dark, then hopefully they'll get to know that that brake light means you're slowing. But that's no substitute for actually saying that you're stopping. Of course, the big feature with this helmet is the indicators built in. Now, I have to say that I've always felt that indicators on a bike, due to the bike being pretty narrow, would be quite difficult for anyone behind to discern which way they were pointing. Now they've got over this with this flow system, so as you can see, just like the flow function on the flashing, then the flow function turns to a yellowy orange, and that's the indicator, and it's pretty clear which side that's moving. Personally, it's no substitute for a hand signal, and a hand signal is essential in my opinion. But if you're riding at night, maybe you've got dark gloves on or whatever, I personally would always wear lighter gloves at night. But if you are wearing dark gloves, then certainly this turn indicator is something that's going to enhance your signalling. And you'll notice that that indicator is also replicated in the front be seen light. So the side that you're turning will actually show a yellow light. So you've effectively got a full 360 degree of light coverage with this helmet. And this brings me to the indicator control. That's operated from this handlebar mounted controller, and it's as simple as pressing left or right. There is this control on the app that also is there for you to test the indicators, but I would imagine while you're riding you could actually use those if you've got your phone mounted on the handlebar to save you having the controller. This is a multi-purpose controller, so for other helmets it will do other things, but for this we're just using the left and right. One thing I would like to have seen on this is some indication on here light wise that the indicators are working. Obviously you can't see them when they're on the helmet. I realise that that's probably not doable because it would use a lot of battery. Now these aren't rechargeable, these are using a button cell, and I would guess they're going to last for ages. So if you had the light feature that I would like to see, then I think that would use a lot more battery. But it's something I would like Livall to think about, because I think that would enhance it. Now, like everything these days, there's an app, and this app is used mainly for setting up the helmet, the functions and so on. As you can see, you can set up the lighting from here. You can set up things like the temperature, whether you want miles or kilometers recording. And the reason they want to know that from a recording point of view is that this app will allow you to record your rides, and if you wish it will upload them direct to Strava. So if that's your thing, if you like to record your rides and you haven't got a head unit, for example, this is going to do it for you. It also has another feature which I found a little bit disconcerting to start with, because when I was testing this helmet I could hear somebody speaking. It was a female voice, and it would go quiet after a few seconds, and then probably another 5-10 miles later it would speak again. So I stopped the bike, opened my bag, and sure enough it was my phone speaking to me, and it was this app. And it was basically telling me what my pace was, what my distance was, and various stats. I think it was average miles per hour or whatever. Now I quickly turned that off because it's not something I need, and I'm sure it would have started telling me that I was going far too slow. So I didn't need that. But if you're a commuter, for example, and you like to pace yourself on your commute and that sort of thing, then this would be quite good, I'm sure. This helmet doesn't have built-in headphones and microphones, but some of the range from Livall actually do, and they allow you to communicate with others in a group, for example. The other thing you'll see here is that they're looking for details on an emergency number. And the reason for that is that if you were unfortunate enough to fall off, this helmet uses a patented fall alarm system. If the helmet detects a fall, it will go into its emergency mode. Now it could be that you just dropped your helmet, or you put it down too quickly or whatever. Now of course you don't want to be alarming anyone if that happens. So the app will give you a 90-second countdown. Now if within that 90 seconds you stop it, that's all over. But if you don't, if you are genuinely injured and you're on the side of the road and you need help, this app will trigger, and it will contact up to 3 contacts by either text or email. And that email will tell the recipient that you've had a fall, and it will show them on a map exactly where you are. Now something that I think is quite clever with this, not everyone's going to get it obviously. Some people will see you on the side of the road with your light flashing in a sequence, and that's good enough to alert people to where you are. But if you understand Morse code, you'll actually see that it's really flashing SOS. Now clearly if I was riding at night, I'd be using the full kit, as you can see here, and have the Arclight pedals, I'd have the Garmin Varia, and then obviously this helmet on top. What the app does allow you to do is turn the lights onto an automatic mode, so in the daylight they won't operate. Personally, I like to have lights on at any time. Obviously I wouldn't bother if it was a really bright sunny day, but I do think to have be seen lights on in most conditions is a good idea anyway. But if you don't want these lights on in the daytime, then you don't have to, but they'll automatically work in low light, so you don't have to think about it. Now of course all this technology is going to use power. So I was quite surprised at two things really. One is how light the helmet is with this technology included, and also that you'll get 10 hours of use out of one single charge. The helmet is waterproof to IPX5 standard, so obviously you don't want holes that water can get into, and they've quite cleverly overcome the need to have a USB-C socket by providing this very neat little magnetic connector. So where do I see this being used? Well, I think commuters certainly. If you're commuting dark lanes, cities, whatever, it's another level of lighting, and the important thing, that level of lighting is higher up, it's at head height. Now clearly you can't use this alone. Certainly with the UK rules, that would be too high for the primary light on a bike. So it's important that you do have other lights as well, but certainly, as I've said, this enhances it. So I think certainly commuters, anybody that's having to travel on a bike at night, maybe if you're touring or whatever and it's poor conditions, you know, wet weather or whatever, then again it's another enhancement to your safety. Now price wise, I never give prices on these reviews, purely because you could be looking at this review in 2 years time and the price would be different maybe, and also in other countries the pricing regime will be different. So what I will say is that this helmet is not much more than a standard helmet without the lighting and the smart features. So I think the pricing is pretty sensible. However, you will see in their advertising, Livall are always offering, I think, a minimum of 10% discount. And also, if you trade in a helmet that's either damaged or a good helmet, they will actually give you a 20% discount. However, I've negotiated for my viewers 20% regardless. You don't have to send your helmet back. All you have to do is use the link you'll see in the first comment in the comments section, and that will take you through, and you can use the code that I've given you there to get 20% off straight away. So hopefully that's helpful. Now I will say that if you do that, that's going to help the channel, because they'll pay the channel a small commission, and that's very helpful because obviously it's quite costly to put this sort of thing together, so every little helps. So if you do buy one, if you could use that link, it would help me tremendously. So I hope that's been of interest. I hope it's been useful to some of you, and obviously anything that keeps us safe has got to be good. So I want to say thank you to Patrick for flagging this one up. I do appreciate it, and if you've got any other products that you think are either new or innovative that you'd like me to cover, then please let me know. So until next time, I'll say goodbye and keep safe.